some yellow, and some yellow ochre. Getting a little braver with this stuff. Well, hey, gang, I believe we're live. Let me get my video monitor caught up here. There we go. Hello, friends. Thank you for joining me again today. My name is Dan. Maybe you know that. This is Daily Art Adventure. Yes, we have been doing this 758 times. This is number 759. Watch out for the fingers. Daily Art Adventure 759, which is the final glaze on this live event painting that I did last Friday, a week ago tonight. And it's all done, except for any last minute tweaking that I want to do. I'm happy to say I'm quite happy with the painting, so it doesn't need a lot of work. Just a little bit. One of the things that this final glaze does is it helps diminish any dull spots in the painting, because the glazes I'm using are both glossy. I say both. Okay, let me explain that. For this final glaze, I'm doing a mixture of two mediums. Neo McGilp, which I was surprised recently to see it classified as a fast dry. Well, not in my world. This is fast dry. This will dry in 2 hours, equivalent of my experience, what this will do in about 2 days. 2 hours, 2 days. How they call this a fast dry? Well, it's because I guess you can have stuff that doesn't dry for 2 months. So there you go. But anyway, once again, that's called Neo McGilp, the worst named product in the art world, and liquid. So I've mixed them together. I've done this quite a few times over the years, and I'm pretty content that it's safe, so to speak. Right, what some of you saw me doing just a few minutes ago was doing a few more strokes with these oil sticks, not oil pastels, oil paint in stick form. All right, and again, that's been a recent, in the last year, that has evolved. And as I said a minute ago, I'm getting a little more confident with it. I've never used it before at this point, that is at the final glaze. Let me zoom in here for just a minute, and I hope I remember to unzoom. So I have no paint on these brushes right now. I only have the mixture of liquid and Neo McGilp. Got it? So you can see what just happened to that green mark. And if I want to obliterate it or diminish it anymore, I just keep rubbing. And in the end, it will turn into almost nothing. Now you could rightfully ask me, well, why don't you just mix up some green paint and do that? And the answer is, well, because this gives me a variety. So normally, I don't necessarily wipe it out to that degree, but I wanted to show you. Let's do another one right here. Good. Right here's a piece. Same thing, without cleaning my brushes. Why I like this is because I don't know if you can see it, but there's, well, of course, right there is real strong, but there's still a faint ghost of that mark. And again, I have such utter control that if I don't like it, I just keep brushing. But what I find, as many of us are finding, many of us recovering tidy people. Let me go over one more. So again, here's a green mark right here. What I'm finding is that how can I say this? The drawing, I've said it so many times, but in different ways, the drawing has to be correct. If you don't have the drawing correct, you get kicked out of the game, so to speak. You have to pack up you have to take up your ball and bat and go home if your drawing is off. Sorry, you missed part of that. There was, again, a yellow ochre stroke over here. Okay, so the drawing, this has to look like a man, this has to look like a woman, these have to look like beer, wine bottles, whatever they are. But you don't get any points, quote unquote, points for getting the drawing right. What gives you points, so to speak, is all the other stuff, including, okay, like I'm going to diminish that green mark just a little bit right there, but I still like that little tiny bit of purely abstract. You understand that has absolutely nothing to do with anything realistic. You understand that, don't you? Especially you regulars who watch me often. Since I'm on a roll, let's do another one. Here's a red streak up here. Now so far I'm doing all, and that just about disappeared, but not quite. I can still see it right there and right there. And of course then there's a general red glow as well, but even there's still a faint mark. Anyway, so that's why I'm enjoying these crazy oil paint sticks, and why I've enjoyed incorporating it into my painting technique. All right, let's back up. Hello, Uncle 6D. Do you ever? Oh no, that's a good question. Do I ever dip the sticks in the medium? No, never thought about that. I should give that a try, just see what it looks like. And you discern me right, of course. You know me well. I'm always into a little experimentation. Let's try something and then try something else and so on. Yeah. All right, now it's time for me to start doing some color, and I'm going to pick up a tiny bit of permanent rose. I just want to warm up. Yeah, warm up with some pale red right there. Yeah, that's all right. Now where else do I want some red? Maybe down here. Again, I don't know if you probably can't even see this, but now there's just a ghost of that red mark. So in the last couple of years, as my own painting journey has, I hope, matured, become more interesting. By the way, I just put some Indian yellow on my brushes. That's way too intense there, but I'll come back in a minute and rag some of that out, lift some of it out with a rag. I like it warmed up. It's just a little bit too much, so I'll fix that later. But while I've got this, I'm going to pick up a little orange now. There are several passages in this painting that I'm particularly happy with. I like the way this tree and this little bit of landscape, you know, right here. Well, since I'm pointing to it, let me go ahead and do what I'm going to do up here. I like the warm stuff that I just put on the sky, but it's too much of a good thing. So I'm going to take some of that yellow off the sky, let the sky go back to blue. Same thing here. I like the yellow here, but it's just a little bit too dark, so lifting that out. While I'm at it, let's go back over here and carefully lift out just the right amount of the paint, the glaze I just put on. There we go. Oh my goodness. I can't believe what a difference. I was thinking about not doing this layer. I can't believe what a difference that just made. That warm glaze coming down here and then lifting off some of it. That area just became so much richer. I think I almost didn't do it. Wow. Okay, let me go back to full screen, full painting here. I've got a big green blob down here. That's the technical term, big green blob. Okay, and the focal point here of the painting, I just put some ultramarine blue on my brushes because I found all of this blue, all of this blue was just a little too uniform, a little too the same from here to here. So now I've cooled this blue down here. Again, I still find there's confusion out there in the world about what is a warm and what is a cool blue. The confusion, I'll say it this way, I've talked about this many times, but here's why there's confusion. You have blue. Everybody knows that blue is cool, right? Then if you add red to your blue, everybody knows red is warm, right? So the erroneous thinking goes, if I add warm red to blue, then I've made it warmer, right? And the answer is wrong. Hey, it's okay. So I didn't intend to get into this, but usually when I give this little lecture, I don't actually have a color wheel right at my disposal. So let me grab a color wheel here, a real. Which one here? There we go. This one. All right. So let's do a quick. Let me grab a clipboard. So just put a little distance. Right. Color wheel, right? It's a wheel. So and we're not ignoring all the stuff on the inside. We're just looking at the outside. Right? Hello, Uncle 60. Yes. After I'm all finished the painting, I paint the top edge and the bottom edge with acrylics. All right, so whoops, hang on, I'm going to get there in a second. I wonder if I've got anything to hang this on. Nah, never mind. Here are the three primary colors: yellow, red, and blue. 3 secondary colors: orange, red violet, they call it here. I would call it purple, and green. Those are secondary, right? There's three primary, 3 secondary, and then 6 tertiary, third degree. Yellow, green, yellow, orange, red, orange, red, violet, blue, blah, 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 blah. Okay, you got it. You see it, right? All right, and I'm not going to give you the whole thing. There's 2 warms and 1 cool. The warms are yellow and red. The blue is cool. So put it like this. Then the next question is, but are yellow and red, generally speaking, are they equally warm? And my answer is no, they are not. Yellow is slightly warmer, generally speaking, than red. If that's true, now this is a tertiary color right here. Here's yellow, here's orange. Are you with me? Whoops, whoops, whoops. Sorry. Hang on. I'm going to put it in the right spot soon. All right. Okay, now Nelson, don't move. Yellow, orange, right in between, yellow, orange. I believe that yellow, orange, so I'm going to put this in the clipboard just for a second so I don't start turning it accidentally. All right? That is the warmest warm color. I'm putting it straight up at true north. Are you with me so far? Some of you don't need to hear this, some of you do. Those of you who learned 10th grade warm cool, I'm about to fix your life. If this is warmest, then any direction you go away from this is getting cooler. So orange, in my opinion, my opinion's right, orange is cooler than yellow orange. Red, we're getting cooler, 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 cooler. So at the very bottom, that is opposite, directly opposite. Again, if yellow-orange is perfect south, perfect north, then what is perfect south? And the answer is blue-violet or ultramarine. That is blue. Here's true blue. With a little bit of red added to it is the coolest color, okay? Now some of you, you really need to learn this because you're still screwing up. Here's the key. Print out a color wheel, put yellow-orange at the top, getting cooler, getting cooler, getting warmer, getting warmer. This explains why there can be a warm blue and a warm red and a cool yellow and so on and so forth, because this is the warmest. The closer it is to this color, the warmer it is. All right? You can see, for instance, why I tell my students, if you have a bright, bright yellow, like cad yellow, lemon yellow, Hansa yellow, one of those bright, bright yellows, don't even think of it as a warm color. Think of it as a cool color. Put it over here and you'll save yourself a lot of grief. Because some of you are thinking that this is warm, 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 and you're wrong. This is warm, warm, warm. This is considerably cooler than that. Anyway, so ultramarine is a cool blue, a purplish blue, even though it's blue with a little red added to it. I hope now you understand why, if you take blue and add red to it, you've gotten cooler, not warmer. If you take blue and add yellow to it, you're getting warmer. So now you're going this way. All right, all right. Somebody out there, I just saved your life. I hope you appreciate it. I'd enjoy watching this guy if he wasn't such a pompous, you know what. All right, so I'm actually cooling it a little more because I've just picked up some dioxazine violet and cooling this blue even a little more. Again, I just wanted a little bit more of a graduation in this blue up here. All right, I think that I have glazed the entire painting. And again, forgive me, I know you're getting a terrible glaze there, and if I do that, then you get a glaze here. And now you're getting a very cool color from the window to my right. So just no way to make it perfect. Next thing on the agenda, I just glazed, I think, the whole painting. At least that was the intention. Is there anything that I want now to lighten? Oh, I missed a spot up here. Hang on. I missed an area up here. I can see what I missed because it's not glossy. That makes sense? And again, the mediums, that's part of the reason I like Liquin and Neo-Miguel, is they both dry very glossy, which I prefer. And of course, in a couple days, I'll varnish this painting with a glossy varnish, because I just like glossy better than not glossy. Just a matter of taste. That's my taste. All right. Now, is there anything I feel like I've darkened too much? Here's a stack of plates, sort of. Yeah, this the DJ's lights there. A little bit on this saxophone player's head. All right, I'm almost finished. I could certainly sign the painting and call it done. But there are two things I want to look for. One is one final glance at, is there any anatomy anywhere, or any detail anywhere? I didn't mean it to say anatomy. Any detail that's slightly off. And as a matter of fact, there is. This saxophone player, his saxophone looks a little bit crooked, sort of. I think if I simply come up here, let me see if I've got the right color, almost. If I come up here and do a little tuck right here, in essence cutting off part of the saxophone, I think I'll fix that. Anything else? Yeah. By the same token, I want to add a dot up here to get rid of the sense that it's curved. That's close enough, I think. And then I said the word anatomy a while ago. Yeah, let me come over here to this young lady. I like, you know, again, this is quite representational, quite detailed for me, for a figure, but she's large enough in the painting, prominent enough that I felt like I had to really give her features, which is the way I've handled this man is a little more typical. Even he has more features than I often give. There we go. A little bit of something's wrong with his shirt. Let's fix that. So just tiny little touch-ups is what I want to fix here. And clean brush. I need to add a little bit to his sport coat or suit, whatever it is, here. Needs to be a little bit higher. Same thing here. So just little touch-ups like that. The woman at the podium, let's see if I can give her a little waist tuck. So it doesn't look so matronly. Yeah, and I think that's better. Whoops, you missed that. Sorry about that. It's that woman right there. A little bit the hubcaps on this car way over here. Just a little bit of a delineation of those hubcaps. All right, that's better. And yes, one more thing. I could keep saying one more thing for a long time, couldn't I? The only thing I'm aware of right now is that some of these lights in the ceiling, some of these hanging lights, have gotten dark again because I keep glazing over them. And I do want to come up here and give them just a little bit of sparkle again. And having done that, I want to give the edge of my ice sculpture a little bit of sparkle too. By the way, one of the things I did while here on the painting after I left you yesterday afternoon, I did a couple hours of broadcast. That was plenty, long enough. But I did continue to paint yesterday afternoon, last night, and I did all the broken color. So I haven't shown you that on this particular painting. You'll see that again if you follow me much. So I've skipped you over the broken color step. All right. Now, one possible last thing. I mentioned this yesterday. I'm toying with the idea of adding yet one more last step to my painting process. And that's because I was working on my Charleston plein air painting here in my studio last week. And I thought, there's one passage, I may show it to you later. I hope to work on that painting later today. I was working on the Charleston plein air painting, and I said, you know what, there's just one place right here that could really use a palette knife. And my brain went, well, that's interesting. If I were to introduce or reintroduce the use of a palette knife, that would give me just one more bit of variety to my finished paintings. And if you watch me often, then you know variety is the holy grail of my painting philosophy. Variety is one of the highest values Well, let me get out a few palette knives and at least begin to think about it seriously. I'm not going to ruin the painting just in order to get a palette knife texture in here, right? I'm not going to do something stupid. I don't think, anyway. I don't think I'm going to do anything stupid. Famous. It sounds like famous last words, doesn't it? Yeah, right in there probably. So I'm actually going to mix paint with a palette knife, which is virtually unheard of. I virtually never mix paint with a palette knife. But I want this color right here. I'll zoom in since I want this color slightly lighter. Ooh. Right, that's so subtle you guys can probably hardly even see it. But all I've done, again, simply, I've simply introduced another element of variety to the painting because the texture is different. The palette knife texture, of course, is different from a brush texture. And I've done it right there at the focal point. Yeah, okay, I don't want to ruin it. I like that. Now, is there anywhere else? And I'm thinking, yeah, somewhere, by the way, that mixing with a brush, that just was too nerve-wracking to me. I'm not going to make a habit of that. I'm going to go back to my old habit of mixing with a brush instead of a palette knife. I want to mix up a little bit of that color right there. It's slightly lighter. Again, you never want to put when you're in the opaque world, when you're in the opaque realm, I say never. Of course, every rule can be broken, but you got to know the rule first or you're probably just screwing up. That is very nice, but I want a larger palette knife. Here we go. You never want to put, in the opaque realm, you do not want to put a slightly darker color on top of a slightly lighter color. You want to go the other way around. You always want to be putting slightly lighter in the opaque realm. You want to be putting slightly lighter on top of slightly darker. Then you say, well, then how do you get darker? The answer is transparent. You switch to when there's some part of your painting that needs to be darkened, you go to transparent paint. That's what's meant by you get dark with transparent, light with opaques. And that's one of my most commonly, shall I say, adhered to. The exception is in portraiture, skin tones in portraiture. But that's the only exception I can think of right off the bat. So I'm doing some palette knife painting just right there on that little part of the logo, and I like it. That's not bragging. That's a whew. Okay, that looks good. Everything you do in painting, you do it because you think it's going to look good, right? Some things you're pretty confident about because you've done them thousands of times before. Other things you're not so sure, so you're taking it, like I am, and taking a chance, thinking, I think this is going to look good, right? That's the answer to my grandchildren. My name is Bigka, B-I-G-K-A. Bigka, why'd you do that? My answer is to them, my grandchildren, always the same, because I thought it was going to look good. That's why I did that. Or why am I going to do this? Because I think it's going to look good, right? That's what painting is all about. I think it's going to look good. And if it turns out I was right, then I breathe a sigh of relief and go, whew, yes, that looks good. And that's basically the way I'm feeling right now. This palette knife, so I don't... Ooh, that was a nice sudden stroke. So much I'm going to do another one. Ooh, that was nice. But now it looks a little contrived, so I'm going to come in here with a pencil and... Now, that is a crazy thing, folks. I admit that I'm to the point now where I feel free to do pencil at any point in the painting process, all the way up to the absolute last stroke could be a pencil, and that's fine with me. That's really weird. I like that. I like that, and that. So this is a new adventure. Remains to be seen, of course, whether this turns into a regular part of my repertoire. Wouldn't surprise me. But I do want to do a tiny bit more up here on this building. Let me move you over. After this, nothing left to do but sign it. And yes, many times I give you my signature rant, but I'm not going to do that today. At least I don't think I am. Let me see if this is the right color. Yeah, close enough. Okay, palette knife. Okay, let me just make sure I'm not losing anybody. Why am I doing this? One word: variety. I'm giving my painting just a tiny bit more variety. Again, one of the highest value, variety of texture in this case, variety of value, color, line, composition, shape, and in this case, texture, because now I've introduced a little bit of palette knife texture at the very end, there, 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 and there, and that's good enough, right? I said I'm not going to give you my signature tirade rant, but I've decided I am going to. On the other hand, I'm going to let you watch me do my signature. So, without the rant, won't that be nice? Let me get you in the right place. Okay, Winsor Newton Series 7 pencil. Let me get a different chair over here. My studio is a little bit crowded of this big painting in here. You newcomers, I have a very nice painting studio downstairs, but I also have 4 grandchildren living with me and their parents. It's a wonderful, happy situation, but they create a fair amount of noise, so that's why I've escaped often to my upstairs studio. Okay, signature. Part of the reason I'm doing this is that I think I'm going to create an edited video for my client here. And the artist doing his signature would be a nice way to end the video. Okay, part of my rant about signatures. I said I wasn't going to do it, but some of you might not have heard it yet. Bless your hearts. Number 1, no initials unless you have a really long, unless there's really some extenuating reason for having initials. Like your name is extremely long. But I'll tell you why I'm against initials. I guess this is part of my rant. What I really am against in signatures is, among early journey painters, is their sense of shame. Oh, woe is me, I am a worm and not a man or a woman. I am unworthy to sign. I'm not any good, blah, blah, blah. So I'll just use my initials then. Okay, so to me, the use of initials is a dead giveaway of amateur artist. Like embarrassed, ashamed. Not a healthy growing artist, but a shame-filled artist. So do not use your initials. Use your name. And of course, make it legible. That's my #1 complaint. And in that regard, I complain against many professional artists as well. Your name is your calling card, is your ID. And forget that mark of Zorro foolishness that you think you're going to be so uber famous that you can just make an abstract squiggle and everybody will faint away when they see your signature because you are legendary throughout the land. That is just a bunch of arrogant poppycock and crap. No, write your name so people can read it, just like I just did. Okay, that would mean sitting down someday, and deciding what your signature is going to be. For me, this is my signature. The same signature I write on my checks, although it's much messier. There are my checks. I would call this sort of my Disneyfication, my Disney version of my signature. In other words, cleaned up and made a little bit graphic, but that's my signature and everybody can read it. I like to say we have a name for people whose signatures you can't read. You want to know what it is? They're called starving artists. Okay, and I'm not in this business to starve. I'm in this business to thrive. So you can read my signature. All right, that's the end of this broadcast. Let me see if there's any chats or comments I need to address before I go. I hope to work on another painting today. If I do, I'll bring you in on that process. Hello, Deborah, a.k.a. Michael. Hello, Barbara. Hey, I watched part of your video this morning, Barbara. I can't believe I haven't caught you before now. Delightful. And by the way, I scrolled back through all your videos so I could find one of your face. You are a lovely lady. Between you and me, you should include your face on every single video, because otherwise I don't feel like I know you. And I know how it feels. All young people, they look at us, they accept us the way we are, but we don't accept ourselves because we go, you don't understand. I used to be 22, tight-skinned and gorgeous. Look at me now. I used to have hair. You're lovely. I like seeing you. That's just for what it's worth, and it might not be worth anything. Yeah, rant number 687. Exactly. Anyway, Barbara, I enjoyed very much. I watched part of your still life and part of your boots. Good job. Thank you. I'm sorry I haven't caught you before now. I don't know what's wrong with me. All right, gang, that's it. I'm going to wrap it up here, and I hope to be back again later today on my Charleston plein air painting. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.